You have a message. You want to share that message. You want it to be social, to go viral, and spread across the planet. But how do you get started? Tune into Amplify, featuring host Ken Rochon. This show is here to help you take that message and channel it through the most effective marketing techniques to not only be successful, but have a positive impact on the world. Tune in live
Monday at 8 a.m. Pacific Time and 11 a.m. Eastern Time on the Voice America Influencers Channel.
and get amplified.
Welcome, Ken Rochon on Amplified Influencer Channel here in DC live. Pretty good weather today. And we just did a BWI run to pick up our publicist and producer to make sure we had the download of all the events she's been going to, traveling the United States. And I had a wonderful visit. Gentleman Al Blackford traveled 1,200 hours now. That's what he likes to say, hours, but it's miles. It's miles. But he wants to tell everyone it was hours because that's how committed he is to joining forces with the Keep Smiling movement. And he got his he got a box of Keep Smiling cards. He is in the process of getting some type of transportation that will allow him to enjoy a trip across the United States using the book 1,000 Places You Need to See Before You Die. Don't have the authors handy, but we'll plug those later. We want to get those authors on the show. That is beautiful. 1,000 Places to see before you die. And what else? What else? Well, what else? There's something very big I'm forgetting. Oh, yes. We are going to print with the fourth part of the Dose of Hope, dose standing for dopamine, oxytocin, serotonin, endorphins. We have an influx of roughly 12 or more chapters. And so if you have an inspiring story, or you know someone with an inspiring story that would like to reach 10 million people, impact their lives, help them know that hope is around the corner. And I just had this beautiful explanation of what HOPE is as an acronym, and I am going to add it to the first page as you open this book, and that is, let's see, it's hold on, pain ends. Hold on, pain ends, hope. So we're going to add that, and we're going to increase the size of this Smiley guy because he needs to be a little bit bigger on the bookshelf.
That would be pretty as a part of a lyric for a Smile song.
Yes. And,
nice.
You know, if you know somebody with the last name Hope, or you know somebody that has an organization, a nonprofit, anything that has the word hope in it, they probably are the right person for this conversation. We had the pleasure of serving and supporting an event called Matter of Hope, and the name of their event, that was the name of their event, but then the theme of their event was Mo Money, Mo Hope. So I was digging that. They had a really cool shirt, lots of great, they had the mask with Matter of Hope on it. Just
was
really,
Mo Decky involved with that or not?
you know, you would think and you would wish that was the case, but that,
because he lives in that area, right?
he now lives in Miami as Mo Dukas. Yes, and he has a swimsuit event. I think, I don't know if we missed it. He didn't.
Oh, the Miami International Swimsuit Competition.
Yeah, I think that might have happened. It's almost the end of summer, so I'm guessing I missed that one. But but with Southwest flying in Miami and all kinds of other cool places now, it's just a matter of knowing what's happening in each city. And by the way, if you have a city that has I guess connections to the movers and shakers, and you want to make a book for your city, we are doing 30 books of, for instance, San Diego, the movers and shakers that caused the city to be a positive experience, building community. So without further ado, how are you?
I'm wonderful. So yes, did a lot of traveling in the last couple weeks, had a lot going on, a lot of things happening, and just I don't even remember what I've done. I've done so many things, but yesterday was super fun because in the morning I was still doing Tesla Tech, which I had been there representing both of us for that extraordinary conference, and had the opportunity to speak about going beyond splitting atoms, fusing together instead of coming apart. And we did that raw and unedited, super fun, talking about energy and science of vortex energy, human energy, and a little bit of biomass and biochar, which I've come to learn a lot about in the last couple months because of our connection with our sponsor, and our sponsor being bees.social, BEES.social. I suppose I should quick mention them as well. Should I go ahead and on with the rest of them, or share more about Tesla Tech?
So they're the reason that we got to Tesla Tech?
No, they're not the reason.
Okay.
They're the reason that they needed a speaker, and he originally was going to have you speak about the science of smiles, and then they needed me in a spot where he didn't want me to talk about the human part of, like they'd already did so many talks about health and wellness. He wanted me to talk about something more scientific. So I happen to have learned recently a lot about free energy and biomass and biochar, which people think it's the burning of trees, and it's actually the creating a char with heating that reduces the carbon of waste from paper and trees when they're making paper that normally would burn and create more of an affect the atmosphere more. So, well, you can hear I got excited about it just now. So anyhow, I talked about that and how it reduces energy, and talked about even a brewery that creates biochar with the hull from the barley and so forth. And so we can literally drink beer and help sustain energy in the world.
That's good news. So let's backtrack a little bit, because there's a couple of people I think that are way above that connection to the Tesla Tech. So we have Aaron Murakami with Energy Science Technology Conference. He has been a devoted advocate of the Keep Smiling movements for at least 5 years. And then we have a recent person that made a contribution to the Keep Smiling movement for you to go to the event, if I recall. Guy?
Yes. We are sponsors of, supporters, publicists for, marketing team for iEnergy, and that's Dr. Guy Wilson and Jeremy Forwada, and the team there. Just amazing group of young men who are doing amazing things with research and development of the Tesla turbine. And so Jeremy got to speak and got to showcase a couple different demonstrations on how that turbine works and how that can create not only energy for people, but hot water as well. So perfect job.
Yeah, brilliant work they're doing, and revolutionary, and certainly really the right theme and the right future type of information for that conference, as well as ESTC. All right. Yes. And then I guess Steve Ellswick is indirectly a sponsor, because he always supports us as well.
Yes, he definitely was very a wonderful host of this event. People were very excited to have it still be happening, despite some recent things in the world where people are starting to enact and enforce more limitations again. In fact, my event that I just bought tickets for, that Southwest doesn't go to their city, I just bought the tickets, and they canceled because of the Delta strain of COVID in Crescent City, California. And that was for bees.social. I was finally going to meet more people that started the organization and are main staples of it, and that event has now been closed down. So so it's interesting to see some things starting to limit and close down again. So it was nice to be at Tesla Tech, where they talked about energy and healing. There was a lot of byproducts of healing that came from cold fusion, hot fusion, Tesla turbine, all this other stuff. There was healing, a Brown's gas, everything. It was quite amazing.
Well, you are having a little bit of a connection problem, so you are sound a little warbly. I'll just share that with you in case there's anything to improve that. But I do want to say it's people like Aaron Murakami that comes up with this vision to bring scientists and disruptors and innovators together that are patent full and of ideas that are creating real solutions to world problems. And then, of course, his good friend Steve Ellswick, who without his vision to have Tesla Tech, you wouldn't have met Jeremy and so many other amazing people. Frank Stofa is going to make a cameo a future week. We got to get him to move from his folding phone to how to use a smartphone to get into a Zoom app. So we're going to get him on, but he is a hoot, one of my favorite people in the world. But let's bring on Jeremy. And we didn't do a complete on these sponsors. We were very focused on the Bees social. So let's talk about little things like these big things here. And how about
we actually
and this
represented them, the EMFfix.com, and Ken was referring to his necklace that helps prevent or shield us from negative energies that surround us in the world, and that is the EMFfix.com. And then menfashion.com, that Ken sports these beautiful shirts showing off the wears and how they look on people. The in the Umbrella Syndicate, Perfect Publishing, Big Events USA, Voice America Influencers Channel, MyMakeupLady.com, Lynn Benavides, TheRedCarpetConnection.com, and of course, one of our new clients, iEnergy, then, although they're not a direct sponsor, we're working in collaboration with. And I think that pretty much is it. There might be some more that I'm forgetting that are new.
No, there's always more, but we got to move the show. There's a guy named Jeremy who flew all the way from Rhode Island to meet you at Tesla Tech just to be on the show.
He is a wonderful young man. Let me ask him to unmute and let me share a little bit about him. So this is Jeremy Rys. Jeremy Rys has a bachelor's degree in physics from Bridgewater State University, and he spent the last 15 years researching and documenting declassified, formerly top secret physics research related to anti-gravity, invisibility, free energy technologies, and so much more. He has the largest public database of books and papers related to the pursuit of understanding these topics, and he currently helps to co-host APEC, the Alternative Propulsion Engineering Conference via Zoom, a bi-weekly conference dedicated to documenting the history of government, military, and private aerospace research into exotic propulsion technology, and talking to the experts who physically worked on these technologies in an open academic environment conducive to understanding the technological process. This is Jeremy, thealienscientist.com. He's also an amazing influencer and YouTuber. Jeremy, so glad to have you here.
Andrea, thank you so much for inviting me, and it was so great to meet you at Tesla Tech this year. Did you have as great a time as I did at the conference?
We had a great time. Yeah, it was fun.
Well, the question is, Jeremy, can you match a level 10? Because she told me it was level 10. So can you match that? Level 10, fun, interesting,
like on
great
a scale
experience.
Of 1 to 10, the fun scale was a factor was a 10. I don't know. It was pretty fun. I don't think I've had this much fun since college.
What does your hat say?
Oh, I have an MIT hat on. I didn't go to MIT, but I was up there I was up in Cambridge a couple weeks ago, and I went and got an MIT hat, and I got a Harvard shirt too, because Harvard just started their Galileo project. So Harvard is now opening their eyes and minds to the reality that we may not be alone in the universe, and they have gotten millions of dollars, I think a $1.7 million grant so far to buy some new telescopes and equipment for detecting and perceiving UAP and collecting data, their own data on UAP, which is a very exciting times.
Yes.
To be here involved in all this, and having been in this field for 15 years, contributing to this movement that's happening, and this paradigm shift in academic consciousness and awakening that's happening. So,
well, I was so excited that you are living in the state. You're not from the state of Rhode Island, but you are living in the state that is the only state that has a square flag with hope written on it. There's no other flag that does, and hope is our jam.
That's true, with the Narragansett Indian,
yes,
on the Rhode Island state flag. Yes,
the anchor. Yep, the good old anchor. Yeah, it's pretty cool. So,
you're from Rhode Island too, Ken, right?
I was born in Warwick, and we were having a nice little dialogue before, and you tested me with the Iggies. I mean, we got to let Iggies know they brought us together. They brought us together in this conversation, that it was legit.
Those fried doughboys.
So, I read your email, and I thought you were with the Alan Parsons Project because of Alan, the Alan scientist. And then I found out that I couldn't see very well, and it's alien scientist. So
the Alan scientist.
Well, we were going to spend at least 15 or 20 minutes talking about who are these Allens across the United States that are getting so much interest that you wouldn't pick something like Ken or Bob or something like that.
Yeah.
But now that mystery has been solved by either better glasses or just asking the question, what is this about Alan scientists? And you're saying that's actually alien. So thank you for that correction, Jeremy.
Yeah, unfortunately, there's more evidence for Allens than there are for aliens.
Okay, so let me see if there's any other things I wanted to. So, where were you born?
I was born in southeastern Mass. Actually, I grew up in between Boston and Providence in a town called Mansfield, and I went to Bridgewater State College, which is a state college in southeastern Mass, and back in high school, I read a book on physics by Richard Feynman, and he talked about, working on the Manhattan Project and being recruited as a young, brilliant physicist to work on classified programs for the United States government. And that got me down a path of, interest in physics and also classified research programs that our government has done and kept secret from the American people. And so that's kind of where I've been since college. I went to college for physics. I took a couple of years off. I changed my major. I wasn't sure if I wanted to really do physics. I tried my hand in business management and and then I switched my major back to physics because I'd rather deal with calculus than accounting. But I eventually graduated in 2012, and but I've been pursuing this other study in the fields of alternative technologies and innovation for just as long. Last time I was at Tesla Tech, I think, was 2009, and I got to meet Nassim Harriman, and I like to thank Mark Hines for helping finance my trip that time and pay for my hotel room or pay for my attendance at the conference that last time. Mark Hines runs the Resonance Science Foundation, if you guys are familiar with them, and they're doing a lot of really cool work themselves. But Stephen Ellswick was also, I'd like to thank him for helping me attend the conference this year and inviting me and getting me to be part of that. So,
well, great. So we have definitely a jump from the day you were born all the way into college. So we're going to fill in a little gap there called childhood and family, and some questions that go along the lines of what happened maybe in your childhood. What was your parents like? Did they encourage you to get into science and physics?
So my dad is a chemical, he's a chemical process control engineer, which is he designs the control systems for power plants and chemical refineries, mainly oil and gas refineries and stuff. And so my dad's a really technical guy. He's actually right. He brought me up on science and interest in math and innovation, and also just the practicality of applying that to the industry the way an engineer does.
How do you do that?
Well, we used to. I mean, I went to Boy Scouts. He used to teach us all about science, and he was just, I don't know. It was just like every topic that you'd have a conversation with him, he'd get real technical and analytical, and he'd always be real, scientific about it. So it just brought me up with that kind of mindset of, being an analytical. And I've always liked technical details and analyzing things in a deeper way than, most people do. It's definitely, not. When I went to college and was in physics, in school for physics, I realized that there was a lot of people that had to take physics that didn't want to be there. And there's not too many people that really liked physics and enjoyed it. But I've always, been just attracted to this, the math and more technical, that kind of deep detail analysis. It's just the way my brain works. And I think that's because of my dad and his influence on, my way of thinking and teaching. And I had he had a lot of interesting friends too, like the friends of the family, because it's always been people who are, whether it's their interest was, going hiking in the woods and knowing every species of plant and mushroom in the forest. It was always somebody that had, deeper knowledge of the world around us, and were, sparked that curiosity in me to realize that there's worlds around us that we don't even perceive and aren't even aware of sometimes.
In fact, there's probably 99% of what we don't know
until you're aware of it, and then it's all around you, and then you see it everywhere.
Exactly. I was lucky enough to complete my certification in science and get the opportunity to teach 8th grade physical science, which is the study of matter and energy. And so I'm digging and relating to how important physics was for you. And my son at age 3 was learning 8th grade physics and chemistry because I didn't know another subject to teach him. So that's why I was asking about your dad and how he taught you.
And I want to interject something there. I want to compliment Ken because I've known Ken for 6.5 years now, and the information that he engages his son in and about science and technology and introduces them to people. And Kenny's written multiple books now with Daddy and done all these multiple things. And meeting somebody like Jeremy, and observing you, Jeremy, this is a compliment to both of you. Jeremy is this amazing young man, and people just love him and are radiate to him because of his kindness, his personality, and his intelligence, and just a beautiful mix of a human being. And knowing and seeing Kenny grow up and seeing you, Ken, to know that Kenny could be doing this kind of wonderful thing, and probably will be because he's already amazing. Just kudos, Ken. Look at what the future is that you're creating with your boy. Yeah. Isn't he at Boy Scout camp this week?
He's at Boy Scout camp this week. Yes. So we put him through Boy Scout camp twice this summer.
An interesting thing about my childhood is that, yeah, I feel like we role play a lot, like kids pretend to be a doctor or whatever. They role play a game, and then they grow up to fulfill that and become that as an actual job. When I was a kid, I remember playing a game that we had this company called Hover Brothers, and that we were creating anti-gravity, and there was this other enemy company that was trying to get us and shut it down. And this was like a game I played as a kid, and like it's so interesting, like how like these role-playing activities as a child actually like manifest and mature into adult roles in real life. So I think that's an important factor of children. Allow your children to play. We had a whole system where we took cardboard boxes and drew on them to make this whole computer system. And it was all my science lab. It was cardboard boxes with all the knobs and everything drawn on them. And now we have a real lab with real equipment that we do real experiments on and stuff. So it's important to let your children play and have fun with their imagination, because it's so important to who they're going to be as people in the future. And again, my father is no longer employed by the oil industry as a chemical refinery engineer. He now works as the electric light commissioner in the town of Princeton, Mass. And he's helping drive a lot of the oil company regulations out and bring in alternative energies. He's got they have 2 windmills that are in Princeton that were almost shut down and put out of use by the oil companies that were running the electric light department in the town.
Imagine that.
He's been working to reverse a lot of the toxic policies that they set up in the town to prevent the windmill from they've actually prevented the free energy from producing free energy, so that we'd be reliant on the grid. And he's working really hard to reverse a lot of that legislation and drive those people out and expose them. And I think that's also worth mentioning. So
yeah, and not only worth mentioning, but in our Dose of Hope book, it is actually having hope that we can actually have clean energy, free energy, vitality, a holistic approach to enjoying life. So if you want to nominate your dad to tell his story, it would be welcome to have many people learn about a hero like him.
It would be great for you guys to have my dad on and talk to him about his story, because what he's doing over there is, I haven't told the story yet. I've been telling him, you got to tell the story, but it would be great to have him tell it to somebody else. It's just not the same when he's talking to me, But
it sounds like he's a bit of a hero to you.
Yeah, he's doing great things, and he's inspired me because he wanted to change the policy. He realized that the only way to do it was to run for local office. So he ran for light commissioner, and he beat the guy out because, he found that the only reason the guy had won and been there for so long is because no one thought they could win against him. So everyone was afraid to run. And then when he ran against him, he beat the guy by a landslide. And it's been great he's gotten a lot of resistance, but he's also got a lot of support. So,
well, let's talk about your dad just for one more second, and the role of fatherhood, I should say. Had he not loved science and inspired you to look at it and see the beauty and the magic of physics and science in general, because science makes the world make sense, and you have a mind that actually goes into solving problems and critically thinking and looking at life totally differently when you understand why it works and how it works. If he hadn't shown you that stuff, do you think you would have been disinterested in physics?
Definitely not. I mean, the science is imagination inside of a straitjacket, but I guess it's you have to learn. It's a lot of learning and a lot of, it's not always fun. I remember, grueling through, homework, having to be pushed through my algebra homework in middle school and stuff like that. But it paid off eventually because, I realized that, those tools were useful later on, and sometimes learning isn't always easy and doesn't always come, flow naturally, but sometimes it is a bit of, boring, and it is hard work. So,
well, we're going to be going to break pretty soon, so I'm going to be a little bit, I guess, brief on these particular topics. So one, I'm going to make a request that my son would love to meet you on a Zoom call, even for 5 minutes or so. So I would love to have him connect with you and hear how important science is. And I also want to give you an opportunity, since you have children, what are their ages, what are their names, and give them a shout out on the show if you want to.
Well, as Joe, Nico, and Max, and Joe's 5. He'll be 5 actually in next month on the 10th. So, and the other ones are 2 and 1. They're all babies, but my kids are awesome, and I can't wait for you guys to grow up and have so much more fun to look forward to. Man, we have a blast. We go out and do all kinds of stuff. So,
and your oldest boy is 5. How old is what's his name?
Joseph.
So are you already introducing him to science on some level?
I try to teach him everything. He knows lots of different stuff. So yeah, he's like a little sponge. I talk to him like an adult. That's the thing. Is I try to, even though they're little kids, I always talk to my kids like adults, and I always I don't talk baby talk. I always use big words, and I talk to them like adults, and I think that helps them, to learn better, because it's not dumbing it down for them. I just tell them like it is. And
that's awesome, Jeremy. Very, very cool. Okay. Any other shout out before we go to break?
I'd like to shout out to my lovely girlfriend, Brittany.
Awesome. I thought you might. All right. So we're going to be back in a couple minutes. Andrea, you want to, what is your show? How can people follow you, Jeremy?
AlienScientist.com.
Oh, sorry. It's
yeah.
AlienScientist.com.
Alien Scientist at YouTube. On YouTube, you can look up Alien Scientist, and I'm also Alien_Scientist on Twitter if you want to follow me on Twitter. And my website's AlienScientist.com.
I think it's going to be a hoot if you contact me in a week and you say, Ken, I've never seen so many Allens subscribe to my show. All right, Andrea, if you'll give a nice little shout out to some of our sponsors, and we'll come back in a minute.
Thank you to our featured sponsor, bees.social, BEES.social, the crypto literacy program for the world, by the people, for the people, the Umbrella Syndicate, Perfect Publishing, Big Events USA, Voice America Influencers Channel, the Red Carpet Connection, menfashion.com, the EMFfix.com, mymakeuplady.com, Lynn Benavides, and don't forget about the Keep Smiling movement. And the Keep Smiling movement is www.thekeepsmilingmovement.com. And your donations help forward opportunities like this, and for us to go out and get those beautiful stories, because what we do is we save lives with smiles by creating a dose of hope. And we'll be back after these messages.
And we're clear.
Well, thank you, Aaron.
Ken, can you move your
You're
one
welcome, Ken.
banner forward halfway?
What's that?
Your one banner, can you pull that one forward?
It's gonna
block
bleach
half
out.
that light.
It's
and
gonna
then
bleach.
Straight.
It's gonna bleach out.
It doesn't. It actually looks better when you pull it forward.
Okay. I'm not okay.
Okay. I'm trust me, it looks better. And it's not crooked. Yep. It looks fine. You look better, and you can read the rest of it better. It creates less of a haze.
It looks bleachy to me. Okay.
It probably does from your angle, because you're looking at it with the light up
10 seconds.
both sides.
I think I understand.
Mhm.
Because I understand English.
3 seconds. All right, here we go.
This is Amplify, To reach the show today, please call 1-866-472-5795.
5795.
That's 1-866-472-5795.
795.
We also would love to hear from you via email to info@umbrellasyndicate.com. Now, back to Amplify.
All right, we are having a wonderful, intriguing conversation with Jeremy, and we're going to go a little deeper in this part of the show to find out what he is actually learning and doing and can share with you that you can support not only him, but also apply some of this to your life so that you are more informed. We'll leave it at that for right now, Jeremy. All right, so Andrea, let's give some quick shout outs to some of the people that we haven't since the beginning of the show.
Bees.social, the Umbrella Syndicate, Perfect Publishing, Big Events USA, the EMFfix.com, the Red Cricket Connection, mymakeup.com, Amplified Voice America channel, and who am I leaving out? The KeepSmilingMovement.com, ONIEnergy.com. And I said Men Fashion, I thought,
Good.
but we'll just throw them in there a couple
enough.
times because they supply Ken and some beautiful shirts. Not enough.
I want them to give me some chemistry, hexagons, and all kinds of. I'd like some physics on here too. That'd be nice too, wouldn't it? I used to, when I was a science teacher, I wore all the different periodic table and anything I could get that had science on my tie. So I'm into that, Jeremy, but not anymore. No more ties for me.
All right, and it just, as long as the conversation's good, I'm not paying attention to what you're wearing. So.
Well, cool. Well, let's talk about the conversation you have on your show. So when did you create your show, and what's the purpose of the show?
All right, I started in like 2007. I made a YouTube channel, and I was trying to think of a good name for it, and I came up with the Alien Scientist, and it's just stuck since then. And I kind of thought of the name because I was really interested in all the rumors about alien technology, and people like Bob Lazar, who said that they worked on craft for the U.S. government, and stories like this, because there's a number of tales like this if you're familiar with this subject. So I started digging into it, and I started really researching that kind of stuff, and I was always fascinated with like reverse engineering, anti-gravity, and all that kind of stuff. So that's why I picked the name kind of Alien Scientist, but also because I've just been interested in, are we alone in the universe, and I'd like to find, the smoking gun or some kind of scientific proof so that we could, definitively know and have like fact-based, data on this subject. And so I kind of got into this field for those reasons. And then I started doing a lot of research into, these programs and stuff. And I met a guy named Ed Fouché, who worked at Area 51, and he taught me a lot about, the way the military works, the way special programs work, and the way the contracts work with the contractors, and who the contractors are and how to look for them, those kind of people, and find them. So it started me down a whole rabbit hole of research into this field and this area of top secret research and classified programs. And I learned a lot and met a lot of really cool people over the years talking about this stuff. And, sort of, I just stuck my neck out there with this and started, basically being like, we're going to disclose this and declassify stuff. And if there's stuff that's been declassified that nobody talks about, that nobody knows about, because it's still just so hush hush that it's not well known. And so I'd like to pick up topics and things like that and bring them out to the public and bring them to a larger audience. And that's sort of what I started back in 2007. And it's just turned into a lightning rod for this kind of stuff. And I've had people come out of the woodwork to approach me and even, drop information in the live chats on my shows and stuff. So it's been great. It's been quite a ride and quite a journey. I've met a lot of really interesting and cool people and done and been a lot of cool places, a lot of cool things.
So we're going to talk about
hashtag declassify everything is hashtag that's been fun. Declassify everything.
Yes.
Awesome. So
the thing is, you think about all the classified projects that were done during the 40s, and all that stuff's declassified now, and a middle school student knows how to build an atomic bomb, but that was classified back, top secret, 70 years ago. So it's the same mindset, is that, all this stuff that's classified now and super secret, all this anti-gravity and invisibility technology that they're working on out there, 70 years from now, they're going to be teaching it in middle school, just like,
Well, just so I can put my foot down, I'm not really excited about Kenny or any kid learning how to build an atomic bomb, just so you know.
Yeah, well, there's positive aspects to that as well, because it's not just, you could learn the destructive elements of that, how to build a bomb, right? Or you could maybe learn about nuclear fuel rods and some mechanics of nuclear engineering and that kind of stuff.
There's always the pot, and by the way, it's your intention, isn't it? It's your intention in the world. So no matter what information you receive, it's how you use it to make the world better or worse. So, and we're seeing a lot of it being hidden from us, as you stated. So what did you want to share in this show of things that are being hidden from us? And you can share your hypothesis of why they're being hidden from us.
Well, there's lots of reasons they're being hidden from us. I mean, you have to think we're going to have the ability to basically almost become godlike with our capabilities. So there's a reason that they don't want just anybody and everyone to have godlike powers. You know what I mean? It's just like, you got to think of this like almost like a superpower. It's like, you're not just going to want to give it to everyone, because you're going to have super villains if the wrong people have those powers, right?
Exactly. So you've mentioned that you had some really interesting people on your show, and I would love to know how you attract them and what some of the biggest people you've had on your show and what they had to say.
Well, I've talked to a lot of interesting people. The APEC conference, since we started that up last December, has been really the lightning rod when everything really started taking off, because that gave an academic platform, a panel of engineers and physicists, to cross-analyze these people who worked on the programs, and again give a platform for them to open Q&A, an hour presentation followed by an hour of questions and analysis from a team of really smart people, like picking this stuff apart, and that opened up so much. So Mark McCandlish was he was great. One of the first speakers we had on APEC was Mark McCandlish, and that was super interesting to get him on. He wasn't perhaps the most informative from the physics standpoint, the deep physics, but he definitely had some interesting stuff to say about the classified programs and stuff. But there's been so many that have come on, like Robert O'Keefe, he runs what's the name of the group over there that does this stuff? Oh my God, there's a group in Scotland that's working on this. There's groups all over internationally working on this puzzle of anti-gravity, and working on the little bits and pieces that have trickled out of these, the classified black world into the light world. And there's now all these companies popping up. There was a whole aerospace team here at the conference this weekend called Kepler Aerospace, who are working on their own methods of defeating gravity and coming up with new propulsion technologies and stuff. So there's a whole massive field emerging from this right now, where real scientists and real engineers are all over the place, are getting involved and making startup companies and working on this kind of stuff. So I don't know if there's any one in particular, because it's just been this whole community coming forward and coming out of the woodwork and saying that we're not going to be afraid anymore. We're not going to be, we're not going to hold back. We have to take the risk of bringing, we understand that there are risks, that when you give these technologies, to a country like North Korea or China, that they might, do some bad things with this, but we realize that we have to be willing to take that risk in order to move humanity forward, because humanity is not going to move forward unless we take that risk. And it's really about understanding the risks and sharing the conversation of that too with the world, so that we realize we're going to live in a much different world very soon, where peace is going to have to be, maintained, because the wars are going to become much too dangerous to even fathom. I can't even imagine what once AI and robotics get a hold of stuff, it's going to be like Terminator,
exactly,
to an extreme. And we need to fight that type of technology and work on the technologies that are going to bring light and love to this world, rather than.
So the Tesla Tech, who are some of the people that you were looking forward to hearing, and what did you learn there?
So the Tesla Tech, I mean, the aerospace guys from Kepler were amazing. John Brandenburg gave his typical talk, but just the conversations that we had privately at the breakfast table were way better than the conferences are really cool and really good sources of information from a lot of different perspectives and stuff. But it's really those side conversations and those that I really like about this conference, and that I remember from last time. That was my favorite part of the conference, was just the people that you meet, and the little conversations that you have on the side are so deep and so interesting. It's like, I don't know, they could be a podcast in themselves.
Who are some of the people that you recommend our audience follow to get more insight about this?
Definitely check out the APEC conferences and the speakers that we have there that are talking about this kind of stuff, although that is a lot of technical details. So if you're not really super scientific or super technical, you might not get as much from that kind of stuff. There are, I don't know. I don't know of.
Well, how about documentaries? So what can we do? So our audience is very leader based.
This is
but
such
it's
a new field. This is such a new and emerging field. There hasn't been any real documentaries made about this, or anything that I could think of out there currently. Like we're literally creating it right now, and forming it. It's brand new. It's a very small community. There's not a lot of people on board with this right now. We only have like 90 or to maybe we never break 200 people watching those live streams, really, because it's such a dense and technical information. It's tailored to a specific kind of audience, and it's not. So this is why I like going on shows like this, because it gives me the opportunity to try to break all this technical stuff down and explain it so that regular people can understand just what is really going on.
So let's go there for a second. So obviously there are tons of technical things we could break down, but let's break down one technical thing that would be something that would motivate people to break down other technical things. So what's something you'd like to talk about that is probably a little cerebrally over the head of somebody who hasn't taken physics, but could be put in layman's terms at some level, so they could say, wow, okay, I get it.
So even I'll kind of branch both fields. So even
Thanks.
if there are advanced physicists watching this, they can go to Wikipedia and they can look up list of unsolved problems in physics. Okay. And then you can take your standard model that you say is, we understand everything in physics, and that we know, and you can look at those list of unsolved problems, and you can realize that we really have a long way to go. We do not have a full, complete picture. The standard model is not what is reality. It's a good mathematical tool for making predictions about, basic systems, but it's maybe not the full picture of what's going on. So one of my favorite things is the mass gap, the Yang-Mills mass gap. Where does I was asked this, your top 3 questions in physics, if you could have answered, if you could ask an alien scientist, a real alien scientist, to answer those 3 questions, it would be like, well, where's the mass gap in the Yang-Mills mass gap? Where does that fine structure constant come from? And how do atoms, what are atoms, and what is matter, what is mass, and what is energy? So how did it get here? So there's lots of unsolved problems in physics that we do not have complete answers to. So anyone that thinks that, physics is done, or that we should just listen to the experts, you're wrong, because physics is constantly reinventing itself, and science is constantly finding mistakes in the past. So that's kind of where I think people need to realize that we as far as we've come, we're still so primitive, and we still have so far to go. And
you reminded me in this conversation, Jeremy, of Good Will Hunting.
I love that movie, by the way.
Well, I was going to ask you the point question of which movie do you like so much, and I figured that would be a high one for you. Are there any other movies that you recommend people to watch to actually kind of get What was the movie about the gentleman who broke the Enigma code?
Oh yeah, yeah. The about not the it's the guy Turing. Yeah,
Yes.
Alan Turing. Yeah. Also the Beautiful Mind with
Oh
Johnny
yeah.
Cash and stuff. Although I think he really did work on classified programs, and they wiped his memory and erased the programs. But just because of the stuff he was working on, the intelligence agencies would have been all over that and definitely been hiring. I think there was a real project that he worked on, and then they told him, no, it didn't exist, because none of that movie made sense to me. But
Was
I
the
like
There's
one
also
movie The Imitation Game?
yeah,
Is
that's the
that
Imitation Game. Yeah,
that's it?
that's
Okay.
Enigma. And
one of
then
my
Jeremy.
favorite movies was actually Forrest Gump, because I like the idea of that you could just be in the right place at the right time and just have this random, it's just the coincidences in life are amazing.
Well, Jeremy, just to add to that, you could be in the right place at the right time, but if you don't have the right intention, and the right action to take that intention, I think you miss it all. And I think
You
there's
miss
so
it.
many things that we're missing every day if we're not looking at, because I mean, as corny as it is, when you're in a smile mode, you're in high creativity, you're in high openness, and you're in high attraction. So as corny as a smile is, which I think it's the ultimate science of how there's energy happening in you that's being recycled and attracting all kinds of amazing things. There was one more movie I wanted to mention. I don't have it handy either, but it is the Indian gentleman who went to England because he had figured out so many.
Ramanujan.
Yes, yes. Do you remember the
Yeah.
name of the movie? It's like Pie or something like that.
Oh, I forget. Was it Pie?
I
Yeah,
think
it might have been Pie.
Wasn't that a
Yeah.
cool movie?
I don't know if I saw that one, but I know the whole story of
Is it The Life
Ramanujan.
of
Never
Pi?
read.
Yeah, I don't know if it's Life of Pi. That's a little different, I think. But
Yeah, I'll have to
we'll
check
put that in
out.
the link. I'm in this mode of I got to rewatch some movies because those
I think
are such good
I'm in
movies.
the mood of we got to make a movie now and a documentary, because you made me realize there's not a good single one out there for people to watch. So I gotta get working on that.
Yeah, and documentary junkies would support it and share it, and it would really go mainstream on some level. So I applaud that,
Absolutely.
and we are here to help you, Jeremy. This would be an awesome thing for us to get involved in. So this is so
And
cool.
he is also he's got so much content. There's multiple books already in the stuff that's out there and within him, and we talked at length about that. So
Yeah, I
I'd
gotta
love to
write a
get him
book too.
published.
Well,
We'd love to help you.
yeah, we're gonna get your story out there, and your kids are gonna be just that much extra proud because you're gonna have a legacy piece of what you created so far in your life, and there's so much more. Obviously, you will. So someone let the cat out of the bag. You went to Roswell.
So yeah, yesterday we took the drive out to the actual crash site in Roswell. Well, it's not in Roswell. It's actually northwest of Roswell, just outside of a town called Corona, New Mexico. And we went to the original crash site. We were able to locate it. We talked to one of the neighbors. Somehow we just coincidentally ran into the neighbor and got a great interview with him, where he's talking about, how they shut down the new property owners. Won't let people on the crash site. They took down the markers so people can't even find it. And they moved everything to Roswell, the town of Roswell, like 70 miles away, so that people, they have the memorial there. And then there's this whole effort, because I noticed it on the internet, there was all this effort to tell people like, oh, visit the Roswell crash site. And there was all these tours, and they're bringing people to the wrong place. It's not even the real crash site. And I was like, this is nuts. It's like the new property owners came in, and then now they're spending all this money on PR to get people to go to Roswell instead of come to their property to go to the real crash site, because there was all these archaeological expeditions. People went there and were digging stuff up, trying to find debris and stuff. And I actually grabbed a couple samples, and we're going to try to, set them off and see if we can't isolate or find anything interesting in the samples that we grabbed. Because my theory is that if it was ET technology and there was nanotechnology present, as suggested by some of the stories and the eyewitnesses who handled the material and reported, things like a feeling that you couldn't get this stuff, you couldn't get your hands clean once you touched the material, that it had some kind of nano coatings or something that got in your skin, and when it was really hard to remove. So those materials were present, then they should still be present. I don't know, they should be stable 70 years later. They should still be in the environment, and it would be nearly impossible to clean up that much nano material from the original crash site if it did exist there. So maybe we'll find something. We're gonna look anyways.
Did you videotape the interview?
Yeah, we videotaped the interview. We videotaped our time out there. I got to stitch them all together and post it today. I think I'm going to do that today. Well, the weather's all right here. I want to go hiking in Albuquerque and do some stuff while I'm here until Wednesday. But I do need to get some videos put up and stuff because I've been slacking on that, and people are like,
Well,
I need an update.
Well, we're going to go ahead and go to rapid fire because we have a couple minutes left, and these are quick questions, quick answers. So what book changed your life?
What book changed my life?
Mhm.
Geez, there's so many. I don't know.
Well, we'll get a little list and put it on the
Well, he
links.
mentioned the one when you were a kid, the
Kelvin,
first
yeah.
one you read as a kid.
Surely
so.
You're Joking, Mr. Feynman. That was a good one. That's a definite read on your list. I recommend Surely You're Joking, Mr. Feynman.
Awesome.
Okay.
Go ahead, Andrea.
What's a song that you play to get you really jazzed up?
I like Pantera or Metallica. If I want something real heavy, I like a lot of heavy metal and like music that gets you really going and amped up. I don't know.
Cool.
Awesome. Who is someone you would love to have on your show?
Someone I'd love to have on my show. I would like to have Daniel Schechtman, the guy who discovered quasi crystals, on my show. There's a number of scientists. I have a long list. Bernard Haish, Hal Puthoff. There's a big list of science. They're all scientists though.
So part two of that real quickly is what scientist is no longer with us that you wish you could have a conversation with?
Which scientist that's no longer with us?
Mhm.
It would be Howard C. Cross, who was the lead metallurgist for Battelle and allegedly managed Project Blue Book. So he was the real metals guy who handled it, who would have actually had access to alien metals if there was one. And I would like to talk to him.
Cool. Andrea?
Ken, because sake of time, I want you to ask the rest of your questions you normally do.
I actually, we did the movie one, so I'm going to say, what quote do you live by?
If it disagrees with experiment, it's wrong.
That is right. 100% correct.
He has a shirt that says
I
That's
love
my
it.
shirt.
That is an awesome shirt, man.
So you do care what people are wearing. Ah!
Yeah.
All right. Well, Jeremy, it has been a pleasure having a scientific conversation with you and also a conversation about understanding the world better in our universe. I'm going to be so excited to watch my son light up when he gets a little 3 to 5 minute conversation with you. He has a book about his favorite science facts, and I'm going to send you the books, at least ebook wise, so that you can tell me if you want any of them for your kids. And
Awesome. Do you have encyclopedias?
we do.
Like hard copies?
Yep.
That was my favorite book as a kid. It was the encyclopedia. You learn so much as a child. Like you can look up anything, and it's just a mass of all the world's knowledge in a single thing. But the hard copies are good. I really like that. There's something about it. And Wikipedia is awesome. Don't get me wrong. I spend hours on there too, but there's something about the hard copy of an encyclopedia. Definitely have those for your kids. I would recommend it.
Well, I agree. And when you're looking at Wikipedia, you're looking at the vast of the unknown that you don't even know what to look up, but you can just turn a page in a book,
Right?
And you start templating the way it all fits together too. So it's kind of cool.
Absolutely.
Well, it has been a pleasure having you on. I look forward to, we have a book called Hope is Dope, which is going to go out, if we have any say in it, to over 200,000 schools. And it's about how a defining moment happened in your life that caused you to really step into your power and make a difference in the world. So you may be one of those cool cats that can do Dose of Hope, more the TED Talk, and Hope is Dope, more the defining moment for kids to read that, you know what, you grasp onto science, you probably have a ticket to wherever you want to go.
Yeah, absolutely. And also just never be afraid to, never let your judgments hold you back, because it doesn't matter what other people think. It's just what you feel and what you your intention. Again, your intention is more important than what anyone else thinks about the feasibility of what you believe in or what. So just get out there and do it,
Well, also, Jeremy, a lot of people.
And guys, I need to be rude and interrupt you. We only have a minute left.
That's fine. I'll just say this very quickly. People that don't agree with what you're doing don't have all the information sometimes. So don't listen.
Well, Thank you so much for talking to me and having me on the show today, guys.
My
It was
pleasure,
great.
Jeremy. Andrea?
And thank you so much to Bees.social, the Umbrella Syndicate, the Red Carpet Connection, Big Events USA, Perfect Publishing, Voice America Influencers Channel, the EMFfix.com, menfashion.com, mymakeuplady.com, and don't forget the Keep Smiling movement. Please remember them and send your donations so that we can help save more lives with smiles by creating a dose of hope. Back to you, Ken.
Thank you. So Ken Rochon with the Influencer Channel on Voice America Amplified. And remember, amplifying is about you being a parent, a leader, and knowing that you do make a difference, and every single person that experiences your power is inspired and can become a future legacy. So thank you for playing big. Jeremy, you're awesome.
Thank you so much, guys. Alienscientist.com.
We hope you've enjoyed this week's edition of Amplified. Be sure to join Ken Rochon
Again next Monday at 11 a.m. Eastern Time and 8 a.m. Pacific Time on the Voice America Influencers Channel.
Now, go get your message heard.